Hello, friends. Hello, everybody. I am just going to give everybody a minute to roll in. I know that a lot of people have already caught this interview on Scott's channel already, and some other people have played it. Kim played it. But I figured we would play it to my channel and to Bobby's old channel, and we could watch it together and discuss the interview live. Scott, I just want to thank you for giving me permission to play this. I greatly appreciate it. We all greatly appreciate it. And we're all here to support Cari in her new journey she's starting. Please check out the description. Please subscribe to Scott's channel. The link to his channel is down in the description below, and we will be sharing it throughout the live in the chat. Also, we will also be sharing the link to Cari's project. If you would like to donate to that project, it would greatly be appreciated. It's only up for, I think, like 7 or 6 more days, so please check that out. If you are unable to donate it, sharing it is a huge way to help. So if you could please share it with family and friends, it would greatly be appreciated. And I'm going to go ahead and get this started for everybody. So thank you.
So I'm telling you, like, as a first-degree relative of Corey Haim, that it just, a lot of the things that were said weren't true.
I know you're gonna dig this. Get funky with me.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? So here I am in Toronto, my hometown, which is also the hometown of my guest tonight. And this is very exciting. I'm going to bring her into the room right now. She's backstage. This is how it works on StreamYard. This is Cari Haim.
Hi,
Cari.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. We've been talking for a while. It's good to see you face-to-face, sort of.
It's best we can do for now, right?
Yeah. It's weird, right?
It's so weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I miss people.
Yeah, I know. So for people that don't know, you are Corey Haim's sister.
Yep.
Yep.
It is true.
Yeah, we are going to talk about you. We're going to talk about Corey. Talk about a whole bunch of different things. We're going to do this two-parter thing, and I'm going to try to not have these interruptions.
Okay.
So let's start with the fact. Well, I think what's interesting is the fact that I've done a few videos about Corey, and it took a mutual friend of ours, a viewer, that put us in touch with each other because I hadn't contacted you or anything, and then Philip, one of our viewers, talked to somebody who knew you, and then you got in touch with me, and back and forth. But it's such a I said it on a couple of videos. It's such a small world because we grew up probably 2 blocks from each other.
We did, and it's actually just funny because I just was looking through the high school yearbook, and I did find that your sister and I were in the same year. I found your picture, and I'm like, the next picture, the next page over. And I know we have a lot of we have a lot of mutual friends, you and I, and it's a crazy small world. Yeah,
it's really weird, especially like, I mean, I just, drop a couple of words like Nymart Plaza, and you're like, oh,
that's where my orthodontist was. Yeah.
You don't. I mean, for North Toronto kids, it's a special sort of, we all kind of do know someone who knows each other, and Willowdale is kind of the area stone. It's North Toronto. Yeah. But we all kind of know each other and know someone who knows someone. Sure. And it's just the way I said that before about Toronto. Toronto's a huge city, but it's a small town, especially where we're from.
Yeah, it's like Toronto. I always say like Toronto's like a city of neighborhoods, and in your little neighborhood pockets, you always know someone who knows someone. And the more you and I talk, the more we find people that we both know. So it's kind of weird that we haven't met in person.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is also you watched my recent video about Corey, and I use a piece of music by someone named Jory Nash.
He's very crazy talented, Jory Nash. Yeah. And
that's how you vetted me to see if I was okay to contact. You thought if it was Jory, he might be okay.
Jory's a good guy. And so if you know Jory and I know Jory, then I know you're a good guy to talk to. So yeah. And Corey and Jory were in grade 1 together. I have a class picture of both of them together. And Jory's like a very freakishly talented Canadian musician. So look him up, guys. He's amazing.
Yes, he does not get I put his music in probably once every 3 or 4 videos. And I just wish more people would discover his music outside of Canada because he's so talented. Mm-hmm. He's so talented. Yeah. Okay. So why don't we start with a couple of questions? So I've got a lot of questions. Well, first of all, I think my first question we're going to talk about your life. We're going to talk about Corey's life, a whole bunch of different things. Okay. One thing I'm really interested in is because when I grew up when I was growing up in the 80s, when I was little, I at first didn't know that Corey Haim was from down the street.
Right.
I just knew him as this, actor that was, I think Lucas was what I first heard of him. It was before License to Drive. And then, it blew my mind to know that this superstar, playing at the same hockey arena as me. Yeah. And then it blew my mind that he was dating Alyssa Milano, who I had the biggest crush on. It's still kind of true. Yeah. Did you know Alyssa? This is a question.
Did. Yeah. We were friends, and because I was in I didn't live there sort of full time, but I was there a lot. I was there for a full summer, and I was there a lot of the time. So she and I were friends, and I would sleep over at her house, and we had Christmas with her family a couple times, which was really nice. And
I mean, that to me is mind blowing because just I've gotten to talk to celebrities and meet celebrities, but someone like that, like just to bring it back to like. There's not celebrity now like there was in the 80s. It was a different feel, 80s and 90s before social media. Everyone's but back
then, now you're so close to people, and there's a chance that the person that you love the most, celebrity-wise, might like your tweet or so you kind of can connect to them. And in the 80s, that wasn't a possibility. They were so far removed, unless you were physically nearby. Right. There was no way they'd even know you exist on the planet. Right. And now there's kind of a chance that they would interact with you in some small way.
It's crazy. The thing to talk to Corey Haim back then, to think to talk to Alyssa Milano would be outrageous. No, of course you're not going to, but now it is. And also Heather Graham. I mean, I think every little boy wanted to be Corey Haim. Yeah. And also wanted to date Heather Graham. And and every girl wanted Corey Haim. And I'm sure a few boys wanted Corey Haim. I mean, what a time. What a time.
Crazy, yeah.
It's been crazy for you to be witnessing.
It was. It became, whatever your life is, especially when you're a kid, that becomes your normal, right? So when my brother started, we were both trying to act a little bit here in Toronto. And then we were about, 10, 11 or so. And then when he got his first film in New York, it was because they couldn't find an American child. That film was Firstborn with Terry Garr. It was like the drama that she wanted to do. And so he played her youngest son. And they had auditioned kids in a number of American cities, and then they couldn't cast it properly. And they came to Toronto, and they weren't trying to find a Canadian kid, but they found my brother. They quite liked him. And then the movie went on in New York. And because it had really well-known producers and so on, it snowballed from there. Those producers introduced my brother to so on and so on and so on. And then he got an American agent, and on it went. And he just hit at a good time for him.
What was his first? What was his first acting role? Was it a commercial? Was it Edison Twins?
No, it was Edison Twins.
Was Edison Twins was his first time on camera ever?
I think so. I'm not remembering anything prior to that.
Edison Twins was a Canadian TV show for people that don't know. I actually didn't really watch it until after, like in repeats. Like I watched it.
It's a cool show.
I'd always thought that he was like one of the Edison Twins, one of the stars. He was only on for one season.
Yeah, he was. The premise of the show was there's these two older teenage twins, and they love science, and there was always a real life science component at the end. There'd be like a cartoon explaining the concept. It was a really cool show. So these twins, and then they had a small brother, and my brother Corey was the friend of the little brother. He wasn't a main character, so he did, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes, maybe more, but just a few. And
you would think he was a star, though. You would think the way people remember the Edison Twins, Corey Haim.
Yeah, no, he was just like the friend of the little brother, and it was a cute little show.
And you're an actress too.
I am. So I do a lot of things. I have a real job in my grown-up job. I'm actually a teacher. I teach deaf and hard of hearing students. So that's kind of cool. Right now we're all in lockdown, so I'm teaching them on the computer, which is tricky. And I am an actor and a writer, and so I do some acting here in Toronto, and I'm planning to shoot a short film that I wrote in the spring. So I'll tell you more about that maybe another time, because that's going to be an exciting venture for me.
We'll definitely talk about that during one of these two, and then we'll get back to it later as well. But sure. like a real talk, but we're plugging something.
Yeah, sure. So
people say I'm looking to be talent, so I may as well act like them. So, okay, we'll go. I think since we're going to do it 2 parts, I picked about 10 to 12 questions from people, and I've got a million in my head. Okay. I've got a million, but I want to, and luckily now that I'm friends with you, I can just text you.
We could do
at 1 in the morning and say, Cari, by the way, I want to know this about right away. Sleeping. Sleeping. Don't stop asking me about Lost Boys. So Nicole Buchanan, who is a viewer of my channel, asks if Corey wasn't okay, and I think I know the answer to this. So let me guess the answer. Okay. This is like I've always said, I'm not a journalist, I'm not a professional interviewer. This is a conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if anybody thinks I talk too much, sorry. But I do. If Corey wasn't in acting, what would he have done? Now, here's my guess. Hockey player. Yes. That's what he would have wanted to be.
I would think probably yes. That was a good question, Nicole. We grew up playing hockey and skating, because Canadian kids, and we lived from the time I was about 5 and he was about 3. We lived in this townhouse complex for a few years where the dads would flood the grass in the back in the communal little playground area, and we had basically a skating rink in the backyard for the neighborhood. Wow! So you could go out the back gate and skate, which was amazing. So we learned how to skate really young, and our dad was our coach. So I only played hockey for 1 year. I didn't love it. My brother played hockey for a number of years. Mm-hmm. In the area we were up in Willowdale, and he was quite good. And so he played for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know, a long time. And he was good. And our dad was our coach. So we took it pretty seriously. So even later when he went to California, when he had chances to skate, he loved to do that, and he just loved it. So we were sporty kids. Yeah, someone sent me a picture of Corey on a hockey team, like a team picture, and your father was the coach. Yeah. So he coached all of our teams. We played baseball as well in the summer, and he coached both of our teams every summer. So I don't know how he was doing that, both teams. But we took the sports pretty seriously when we were kids. So yeah, he would have loved. I don't think he was good enough to be like in the NHL, but he did play hockey pretty seriously as a kid. Yeah, he loved it. Well, I mean, I played hockey my entire life as well, and I remember seeing a clip of Corey skating when I was a kid. I forget what it was for. I think it was when he made a promotional video about himself and skating in it. And I remember watching and thinking, that guy's better than I could ever be. Like, you can tell by the way he skated that he was. Yeah, he was a skater. Like we were both skaters. Yeah. So here's a question from Sawyer Smoke.
Maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't. But what movie did Corey enjoy doing the most?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got something out of all of them, because in a lot of the movies he'd make friends, and being on a movie set, it's kind of like going to camp, like summer sleepover camp in a way, because especially if you're on location, you're with this group of people for like for 2 months or whatever it is. And that becomes like your little family, and he liked that atmosphere a lot. Lucas was really fun because he loved that character so much and the story, and made so many friends on that set. Friends that I'm still friendly with somebody.
Well, you're in the film.
I was in the film a tiny bit. And I'm still good friends with I don't know if you remember, but there was the guy who played the big bully, Bruno. Yeah. So he and I are still good friends. So he's in California, but we chat every now and again. He's lovely. And I think sometimes it's also in retrospect too, like when you see what the film became. So like, because Lucas was popular in Lost Boys and License to Drive, like the experiences were amazing, but then when he was able to look back and go, oh my gosh, I made this thing, or I was in this thing, that became sort of a cultural touchstone or something. Like, I think he felt a lot of pride in that. He just liked working generally. Like, he always had a good time. So I don't know if he had like a real favorite, but he just really enjoyed the experiences.
What is it true that for Dream a Little Dream, he was going to play the lead, but he said he wanted to play the secondary part?
As far as I know, that is true. I don't know a lot of the details of that one. But I think
did he break his arm in real life?
He broke his leg. He actually really broke his leg. Yeah. An accident broke it, so they put it in, and it worked out. Poor guy. It does. It gives his character that little sort of extra weirdness. That's the character. It worked for him.
Walking around the cane. Okay. Well, Gloria Salinas asked, and okay, well, he dated so many beautiful ladies. Who did Corey Haim love? Did he ever fall in love?
I think he did. I think love was something that came very easily to my brother. He loved a lot of things and a lot of people. I think he really loved Nicole Eggert, who I'm still in touch with also, actually.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, so she's doing well. Yeah, I think he was really in love with Holly Fields. Like, he just loved people, and he loved his friends. He had a lot of, I think he would have wanted to sort of eventually get married and settle down and whatever. Like, he liked the idea of that. He had a girlfriend named Jo, who was British, and she was lovely. And I think he just, whatever he did kind of like wholeheartedly. So if he was with someone, like, that was his person, and he would devote himself to you. He was just like that. So yeah.
That's sweet. From all the people that I've spoken to, that especially in the neighborhood, like our neighborhood growing up, not one bad word about Corey. Everybody, the nicest, most down to earth, sweetest guy.
Definitely very down to earth, I gotta say. Like, even with all the Hollywood, whatever, the nonsense from Hollywood, and it is a really weird way to live, and it's not normal. He didn't really get super jaded, and he would love talking to people. So that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody else asked the question Steve Vorges asked a question kind of like this. How did he feel about being a child actor? Did he feel his childhood was rushed, or did he feel cheated that he lost part of his childhood? Like, sort of ping pongs from what you said.
That's a really good question. I don't think he felt cheated. I think other things in his life affected him more than being a child actor. He really enjoyed it. Like, school, he was not a school kid. School was very difficult for him. I think he had like some undiagnosed learning disabilities. School was a real challenge for him as a little kid, and even older. So even the concept of getting tutored on set, because when you work as a kid, you still have to do school and they get a teacher for you. That probably worked out better for him because it was just one-on-one, because he didn't do very well in school. He didn't feel very accomplished there. So when he was able to do the acting thing, I think he felt like it was a skill that he had and something he could do, and it was productive, and he felt good about it. I think, you know, my parents getting divorced affected him more deeply than being a child actor. I do.
Wow, that's
yeah,
like a regular person.
Like a regular person. I mean, having said that, I don't think acting is a great thing for little kids to do full time, because people treat little kids on the set like they're little adults, and I don't think that's good. I think things have changed over the years. Like, as we've learned more about this kind of thing, there's more rules and there's more laws and there's people watching to see how the kids are. But the way my brother grew up, and especially when you're the star of the movie or one of the main characters, you're working and it's an adult industry. And I don't think that is ideal. I think kids love acting, a lot of them. I think theater is a better way to go. Like, if any of your viewers have children who want to do acting, and I'm an actor, but I don't recommend film and television for little kids all the time. I think theater is amazing and it gives you a lot of good skills, and it's a little bit different.
For sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put my kid into acting full time personally. Having said that, I think it was actually a positive thing for my brother in a lot of ways, because he felt confident when he was doing it.
And you were out there, right? You moved to LA at the same time. You lived out there during the... Yeah,
we did. I ended up coming back here to Toronto actually when I was 16, because I wanted to finish high school here.
That's that's weird. That's I mean, not weird. That's just, I mean, that's interesting to me. You decided to come right back and go.
I did. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I was doing some acting out there and I got hired for a couple of things. But then I really decided I wanted to go and finish school, and it was going to be my last year of high school, and I didn't want to move in my last year.
Yeah.
And also the school that we were zoned for was the Beverly Hills High School. And I didn't think I'd fit in. So I went to visit it. And
I think there's a TV show based on that premise.
This was pre-90210, but I was like, I don't think a Toronto girl is good for this place. So I came back to Toronto and lived with friends and family and finished high school. But I was going out quite a little bit to visit.
You missed Pickle Barrel.
Oh, of course I missed the Pickle Barrel. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we lived so close by. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I haven't eaten there in probably about 6 months, and it kills me.
Well, because now with the whole lockdown thing, and my son, my little guy, he's 8, and he loves the French toast there.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh my gosh. So he would just die to go there, but hopefully
they shortened their menu because of the pandemic. So there's hardly any. It's like I'm gonna when it's open again, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna.
We're going for sure.
So we're gonna ask another question from my friend Mike Pagliaccio, but it's Mike Barone. Okay. Mike, and I filmed with Mike before. He's a great guy, very talented. And he says, how difficult was it for him to play a character like Lucas, considering he was the polar opposite of that character in real life?
Well,
he's talented.
He was an actor, so I mean, I guess that's kind of a cool challenge for an actor. Like, if you're always playing someone who's just like you, then that's not much of a challenge. The director and writer of that film, David Seltzer, who I'm also in touch with periodically, he's lovely. It was such a beautiful script and it was such a nice movie. Yeah, I love that movie so much.
It's a beautiful movie.
Yeah, and so I think it was just so well written, and the director was just so kind and giving that he was really able to help Corey do that role. I think he just liked the challenge of that, because that's the fun of it, right? Is trying to play someone totally opposite of you.
Yeah, I think my favorite movie, and a lot of people when they write me about Corey Haim, is Lost Boys.
For sure,
I mean, that movie has you were telling me the other day on the phone, you went to a screening of it not too long ago. Yeah. I mean, it has an enduring quality. Yeah. I went to Santa Cruz last year, the year before, and I mean, it's an industry unto itself.
Yeah.
Lost Boys industry.
It's just so iconic, right? It's just such a look to it.
Were you on the set at all for that?
I was, for a little bit, not the whole time, but I was there for a while. I saw the cave.
The cave set or because I went to the cave where they. You went to the inside?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was very cool.
Was that the Warner lot? Was that where they did that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, it was really cool. It was a neat place to be. And it was a cool movie. Yeah.
Did Kiefer's a fellow Canadian. Did he recognize that in Corey? And you guys, and the three of you talk about that?
I don't remember actually having too many conversations with Kiefer, to be honest with you. We just kind of kept to ourselves a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I remember him being very nice and very pleasant. I know that whenever we work, or my brother worked with Canadians, like that's, you know how it is when you see someone in the States and you're Canadian, you just like, I know you, I know where you're from, love me. So
my dog just jumped into the closet for some reason.
Hello, dog.
And so that means, and also it's 34 years ago it's filmed because it came out in 87. So that's a long time to think back and remember what happened. Now, so on Lost Boys, I believe that would be the first film he did with Corey Feldman, correct?
I believe so. Yeah, that's where they met.
Yeah, I think they met on that set.
Yeah.
So, because a few people have asked me about Corey Feldman. Brexton, I know when I talked earlier about Corey Feldman, but we're not going to touch on that too much. But Brexton asked, was Corey Feldman a bad influence on Corey? And tell me a little bit about their friendship, what you remember about it.
Okay, so when Lost Boys happened, they were teenagers, right? They were 15, 16, 15-ish years old. And so they did become friends when they were kids. And then it became this two Corys thing, because the odds of having two, nice Jewish boys, both named Corey, spelled the same way, which is also unusual. And they did become friends, and were friends for a number of years. So that's all true. I think after doing a number of films together and whatever, both of them got a little tired of it. Like, it's kind of weird to always have your life attached to someone else's when it's not like your twin or something.
Yeah.
And, they had good times, they had bad times. I think, though, the more recent discussions about Corey Feldman is basically about the last sort of decade of my brother's life. They weren't friends. Right. They occasionally did work together. They did that Two Corys reality show, which was heavily scripted, but whatever, because they always are.
Yeah.
But they did that, and even if they did a publicity thing, people need to work, right? And so even when they did sort of work together in that last decade, I wouldn't consider them friends. Like, friends are people that you call them up and you go out socially, and your families get together, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I knew Corey Feldman when we were teenagers and whatever, but they weren't really friends for the last decade or so. And people don't like that, which I get.
They want to believe that they were best friends forever.
Which I get. Like, I understand that, because like if I was, when I was a kid, like a teenager, and I was like a big fan of, I don't know, soap operas or whatever, and I'd want to believe that the husband and wife in that soap opera were together. I wanted to believe that. And then I find out later that they hated each other. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, they belong together, right?
Yeah.
And I think people just really want to believe that they were best friends, and they were when they were kids.
Right.
Right. So
you grow up and you don't have the same best friends that you have when you were.
My brother always had like a feeling of nostalgia towards him, and because when you think back on a friend that you had a long time ago, you think back on them, you're like, oh, that was a nice time, but people move on, right? Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, when my brother died 10 years ago, a lot of things were coming out, and Corey Feldman was talking quite a little bit about my brother, and he has his own reasons for doing that and saying what he says. I don't know what they are. Just because we want it to be true doesn't make it true. So I'm telling you, like, as a first-degree relative of Corey Haim, a lot of the things that were said weren't true.
That's right. It's good to have you on and say that.
It makes me sad because I don't like lies. I don't like falsehoods. And sometimes people say lies and they believe that they're true. And I don't know if that's the case in this situation, because I'm not in Corey Feldman's brain. I just don't. it's unfortunate. My brother's been gone 10 years, right? It's been a long time already.
Yeah.
And so as his family, of course, we think about him and we talk about him every day, and we visit the cemetery, and we, I talk about him with my kids because my kids never met him. But it's kind of disconcerting to think that other people are talking about him and spreading falsehoods and saying horrible things about him, and saying, because they want things to be true, and they make up these conspiracy theories and whatever. There's nothing we can do about that. It makes me sad that people waste their time doing it.
Yeah.
I wasn't, and people are going to say, well, she doesn't know because she wasn't there. True. I didn't live with my brother, so I don't know every single detail, but we talked. Yeah. He was very, very, very close with my mom.
Yeah.
And of course they talked all the time because they lived together.
Yeah.
So I know just from being in this family, from being in your own family and from your own, everybody knows from their own families, the little stories. And then there's always rumors. Oh, I thought this happened and that happened. No,
and especially when somebody is that level of stardom, there's going to be, like you said, there's going to be stuff made up, and there's going to be rumors and conspiracy theories, which drive me absolutely crazy.
And I think I get it. People, I have celebrities that not so much now, but that I looked up to back in the day, and you kind of want to feel like you know something about them. You want to feel like you're closer to them, which it's kind of a normal thing, and you just want a connection. So I think when people think, oh, I know what happened to Corey on this movie or that movie, and I know this and that, I get it. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, you probably don't know. And it's okay to not know. It's okay to still love that celebrity person and admire them and whatever, and just not know everything about their personal life.
So well said. I love the way you said that. It's so true. You don't have to know everything, and you don't have to say, not everybody is going to know. Not everybody's going to know what Corey went through.
Right. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. The bottom line is this. I know there's rumors about, I'm sure we'll get to the abuse question at some point, but we know that my brother was abused by somebody, and we do know who that person is.
Right.
And that was that person, Dominic, whose last name is escaping me, but he'll come back to Russia. And he passed away a couple of years ago. We know that it's him. It was my mom walked in on a situation, right? And then this is all public knowledge already. We know all this. My mom has spoken about it openly. And I know because not recently, obviously, I spoke to my brother about it. We know this. People want to believe that it was something that happened on Lucas. It wasn't. I was on the set of Lucas every day for the entire shoot.
We may as well address it now. We're talking about the Charlie Sheen allegation. Yeah. And you were there. And
I was there.
And to me, that's absolutely ludicrous to even think that. When it's been said what actually happened, just believe the actual facts. And then Charlie Sheen's name comes up. It's
okay, so
weird, but
Charlie Sheen is, and I did know Charlie, and you have to remember when we shot Lucas, Charlie was 19 years old. I was 15. Corey was 13. So we were kids. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I knew him fairly well, as far as things go on a movie set. And
you know what, Cari? Before you continue, you know what I think we should do?
What should we do?
I think we should continue this on the next interview, because this is where it's going to get interesting.
All right. That works for me.
People coming back for part 2.
Sounds good to me.
Not to interrupt you, but I think that's a good place to do it. All right. So we will be back in touch. Well, we're going to continue the interview. Okay. It's going to be in 2 parts. Perfect. Okay. Good to have you on, everybody. Tune in for part 2. Peace out. Thank you, Cari.
See you soon. Set straight, which still for some reason this rumor persists, is that my brother died of an overdose.
Right.
And that is not the truth.
I know you're gonna dig this. Get funky with me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of my interview with Cari Haim. We were talking, and we're going to continue talking. And we were talking about you being on the set of Lucas and the Charlie Sheen allegations, and you were 15. Charlie Sheen was 19. What was going on there?
Well, nothing is the bottom line.
Right.
Nothing was going on. They were shooting a movie. I had a very tiny part in the movie, but I was there for the whole summer, which was fantastic because I made lots of friends on that set, some of whom I'm still in touch with, and nothing happened basically. And it bugs people because Charlie Sheen then was just a 19-year-old guy. Like now, when you think about Charlie Sheen, and he was into all these weird things and I don't know, tiger blood. I'm just trying to remember all the weird.
The biggest scoundrel in Hollywood history, probably, is what people think of him as, right? Yeah.
Right. So, and he had so many issues and so many problems and whatever, and now he's an adult and an older guy and whatever. Fine. But you have to remember, we're talking 1985, when he was 19 years old and I was 15 and Corey was 13. We were all kids. None of the allegations that have been made, we don't believe any of them. I don't believe them. I was there the entire summer. My mother doesn't believe them. There's another actor from the film. He and I have spoken. When those allegations came out, he called me and he's like, wait a second. He was there the whole time too. And they were friends. He and Charlie were friends. No. And the allegations are so fantastical that it's amusing. That something happened with Crisco in between the trailer. You can't watch it. It's not even logistically possible on a film set to do anything like this because there's so many people walking around. It's not like you're in the 1930s on a circus, in a circus tent or something where you can go behind and no one will see. It's not like that. It's just not possible. So we truly do not believe that Charlie Sheen did anything to my brother. Now, do I know that 100% for sure? Of course not. Was I with my brother 100% of the time, every minute of his life? Of course not. But I'm telling you, like, as someone who was there all summer long, and there will still be people who say she doesn't know what she's talking about, she's covering up, whatever. I can't do anything about that. Truly, from the bottom of my soul, we don't believe Charlie did anything. Am I saying Charlie Sheen is like an amazing, wonderful guy who never did any bad things? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when he was a 19-year-old guy, this story never happened.
Right.
That's truly, there was never a time, a place, it just didn't happen.
I'm glad you said that because there are going to be people that are going to say she's in denial. It'll happen.
Nothing I can do about that.
No, right? I'm glad you said that too. There's absolutely, you're right. I mean, it's just, it's ludicrous to me. Like you said now, as you said in the previous video, you said, you know what happened to Corey, but the one person that did this. So, and then Corey, he the substance abuse issue.
My brother did have a substance abuse issue. And a lot of people ask me if I think it was related to being a child actor. Yes and no. I do think that if my brother hadn't become a child actor, he would still have been a drug user. I do believe that because I think that was just his personality. Yeah. And he was always very sort of easily swayed by other kids, even as a kid, a little kid. Mm-hmm. So I do think so. I think that being in the film industry gave him a lot more access than he would have otherwise had. Sure. And he had, at the time, more money and whatever, and more people who wanted him to like them, whatever. There was a lot more opportunity.
Hangers on that want to be close to cocaine.
Hangers on, and here's some drugs and whatever. The one thing I do want to set straight, which still for some reason this rumor persists, is that my brother died of an overdose.
Right.
And that is not the truth. So my brother died of pneumonia, which I didn't know, frankly, that you could die from at the age of 38. He had an enlarged heart and he had pneumonia and no drugs in his system. So the last few months of his life, he was actually clean of drugs for more than a few months. Like every now and then he would dabble in drugs, but literally the last number of months of his life, there were none. Yeah. So that was kind of the sad thing that he was a drug abuser without question. And I personally feel that, when you do a lot of drugs, it's going to damage your system, right? So of course, maybe it would affect somebody. Maybe the pneumonia affected him more deeply because he had done damage to himself in the earlier years. So that's totally possible.
Yeah.
But, and people will say, well, no, he did drive a drug overdose, whatever. I can't do anything about that either. We have a coroner's report.
I know.
And those people don't lie. They don't care, right? They just put the science out there. And that's just the fact, unfortunately, that he died of pneumonia. So I don't think he was sick. He had a cold. He just got worse and worse. And I don't think he realized how it had really developed into his lungs until it was sort of too late.
Yeah.
So
at the age of 38, you're going to, as sick as you get, you don't think you're going to get sick.
No.
Cold or pneumonia. So you're probably, and being a male too, with that alpha male, you know, it's kind of a thing. Like,
and he was a fairly healthy person. Other than that, he liked to play frisbee. He liked to go out and just be active outside. And, you know, he liked cooking and he liked, you know, a whole bunch of things. Like, he was a pretty active guy. So yeah, I think that probably it would never have occurred to him that he was as sick as he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do you get to go visit him a lot?
We don't live too far away. I don't go often, but we go a couple of times a year. We go out on his birthday. We tend to go on the anniversary of his death. We tend to go around the Jewish holidays. My mom likes to go on the special holidays.
Right.
So I take her up there. Sometimes we take my kids up there if they want to go. Yeah, so we go a few times a year.
Oh, and I want to show you. I put them aside here.
Okay.
Because these are the extra ones I have. This is what Tamara drew, and you have these. Whoops. There we go.
Yep.
You have these that I left at Corey's grave. You went and got them.
I did.
I'm sending these back to Tamara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's a huge fan of your brother.
Yeah, she sent those to you to put down at the grave, which you did on his birthday this year. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, my mom and I had been there that morning, and my son, and so we missed each other there. And I've never actually met anybody else at the grave, although I know fans do go, because whenever we do go, there's always new things there. There's new, So
I've been there a few times, and there's always something new. And it's not in Toronto. It's outside of Toronto.
No, it's outside of Toronto.
Distance, you know. Mm-hmm. So if people go out there and find the grave at the very back, you know that it's something special.
It is very special. And whenever people tell me they do that, I'm always really amazed that they took that much time to go out and see and to pay respects to him, because it is, if you want to go out there, you got to want to go. It's not like it's a convenient trip. And so that's always really amazing and fascinating to me. And we're very grateful that people remember him and think positively about him.
He's got the amount of people that have written on the comments or direct message me and stuff is unbelievable. And then the amount of people that weren't even born in the 80s, let alone the 90s, that are fans of Corey Haim is surprising. Every day I get something from somebody else that's I'm just like, what? How do you know? Like, you know what I mean? And then I asked somebody else. I asked one of my cousins that reason. I said, "Do you know who Corey Haim is?" And they said, "No, who's that?" And I was like, I was like, the Lost Boys. They're like, "What's that?"
I have so much to teach you.
Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, Corey's got such a huge family, because that was such a. I said it in the video, like Silver Bullet, notwithstanding, Lost Boys and License to Drive. That double whammy of two just cultural, you know.
Yeah.
Milestone.
It was a special time. It was really a special time, and those movies are just so iconic, and it's really, you know, those movies are like comfort food for a lot of people, like just to watch them over and over again. And there are a lot of movies in that era that are like that.
To go back, we were talking about before, not to belabor the point, but when we were talking about the two Coreys, the TV show, like a lot of people, like I remember when I watched it, I was mesmerized, but I knew it was scripted reality, like Real Housewives and other shows like that. And it's surprising how many people don't realize that. But when you watch it now, you watch clips, because you know it's scripted reality, you see how good of an actor your brother was.
Yeah.
How talented he was, because he made it real.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. You know, I'm not a huge fan of reality TV myself. I've just never really taken to it. Right. But yeah, a lot of those shows are really scripted, because you need a good guy and you need a bad guy. You need conflict, right? And if you're just kind of hanging out in a house, that's kind of boring. So you need someone to be the good one and someone to be the bad one. And I mean, I'm sure that some of the conversations they had on that show were real, but there's also editing. Like, I think when using editing, you can change a story so quickly. Have you ever seen any of those clips on YouTube where it's like they show you a movie like, I don't know, Home Alone or something, and then somebody's recut it to make and put different music to make it look like a horror film or something?
Of course. Yeah. That's hilarious.
So like, and it's the same dialogue and the same everything, the same shot. But I mean, you can really manipulate film so amazingly. You know, it is what it is.
When I film my videos, I can actually edit it to make it look like I know what I'm doing. And people have no idea that I'm actually just a moron.
I'm sure your viewers are so happy that you at least can make it look like you know what you're doing.
I make it look like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I have no clue. So my friend Jojo, who watches the channel, so we're gonna go. I've got a few more questions here.
Okay.
Jojo, and this is a really good one because there's a lot of questions about this. What do the numbers stand for on his headstone?
Oh, that is a good question. So 222. So my dad was a sports guy too when he was a kid, and his number was 2, like on the back of his jersey for hockey or for baseball or whatever. So then when we were kids, my dad wanted us to have that number, but he didn't want us to have that particular number. So we went with 22. So it just became a thing that the 2 is really my dad's number and the 22 is my brother and mine when I played our number. And so it just became a thing, this 222 thing.
So it has nothing to do with Corey Feldman or the stars or astronomy or anything.
It has nothing to do with Feldman. It has not. I know, sadly.
Yeah.
He wants it to be that way, but I mean, it's not. It was a thing with my dad, and my dad and my brother had like a real connection as well. So that was just their thing, this 222. It wasn't only after he died, it was before he died too. For many years, that was their thing. My dad had a license plate with that number on it, and you know, it was just a thing. So my mom put it on.
Somebody told me that a while ago, that exactly what you just told me, and I was like, well, that makes sense. I mean, it's a family headstone put together. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to put something to do with And how is the father, by the way? Is he in Montreal?
My dad is in Montreal. He's very well. Yeah, and Corey and I have another brother. I don't know if you know this. We have a younger brother named Daniel. He's from my dad's second marriage, and he's also in Montreal. He's a good guy. He's so he lives in Montreal as well. Yeah.
And how's your mom doing?
She's well. She's doing well. Her health is pretty good, all things considered. She had some health issues. A lot of people are actually about to ask how your mother is. So that's so sweet. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So she had cancer before my brother passed away. She had cancer. Thank goodness it's gone and has not recurred, which is thank God. And yeah, I know, seriously. And she's in her early 70s and she's pretty spry and she's great. My kids like adore her. They love her to death and she loves them to death. And she doesn't live too far away from me, so she spends quite a bit of time with my little guys, and she's doing pretty well.
It's always surprising when I've seen interviews with Corey when your mom's there, or interviews with your mother when she has the accent.
It's so funny. I don't hear her accent because I'm so used to her, but she does. I mean, she grew up in Israel.
Yeah,
she came to Canada. She came to Canada when she was 15 years old. Yeah. But you know, those accents stick around. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many friends of mine had mothers with Israeli accents? I couldn't count. Yeah, because I recognized it right away.
For sure.
So Carolyn Ward asks, she has a few questions. What was the name of his dog? The one he wore his dog tags after he died, or he wore his tags? I didn't know that.
That was Q. He had a big, huge. It was a bull mastiff, and his name was Q, like the letter Q. And he was very drooly and very sweet.
Okay, and then we already discussed his hobbies. I think it was hockey and music and sports, right? I mean,
he loved sports. He liked as a kid, like hockey, baseball. He liked frisbee. He was really into frisbee. I gotta say, like even up to the end. Like, I don't know why. He really liked going out and throwing the frisbee around, like simple stuff. He really liked to cook. He was quite a good cook. He'd make like smoothies and slushies in the blender. He really liked icy drinks. So he'd put those in the blender and make those. He liked painting, of course. Oh, that's cool. He was a visual artist. So in the last number of years of his life, he really found a love of visual arts and painting. And we have a few of my mom has a couple of his giant canvases at her place, and they're all abstract. I have a very tiny one somewhere in my house. And actually, you can buy prints of them. There's a website, it's Fine Arts America, and you can buy like a print or a blanket or a mug or whatever that has his artwork. And I'll get you a link and you can post it. It's really, really nice stuff. It's really interesting, his stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look at that. Yeah, and I'll tell people. I guess Fine Arts. What was it?
It's called Fine Arts America, and you just
Fine Arts America.
When you go to fineartsamerica.com, I think it is. You just Google or you search in the search bar for Corey Haim, and you'll find his work. So there's about 6 or 7 or 8 prints.
I didn't know that. I always pictured like growing up, like he's a little bit older than me, but I always pictured, okay, well, when he comes back to Toronto, we're going to become best friends. That's obvious. And then when you said he loves Frisbee, I was like, oh no, I'd be out because I'm afraid of Frisbees flying at me. Cooking, I don't like that either. I don't like hot pots around me. So maybe we would have. But then he brought up fine art. He likes art and hockey. So yeah, we would have.
Yeah, he liked art and he liked music as well. Of course, he dabbled in piano and keyboards and singing quite a bit, and so he liked
there's some videos like him on YouTube, I think, playing the piano, and there's some. I think did he have a record out? Or
he did.
Yeah,
I think he tried to put out something. He's got a couple of songs out there. Yeah.
Very late 80s, early 90s sound. Yeah. It's nice. It's. I listened to one of them just the other day, and a lot of people when they sing, they sound completely not like themselves, and it sounds like Corey Haim.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
he's got a nice voice.
A long time, but yeah.
Fern Reeves writes. It's not a question. She just wants to let you know. I didn't say who I was talking to. I just said if you could ask a member of Corey Haim's family a question.
Oh, okay.
I left the vague. She said I would have a question for him or whoever. I would, however, thank Corey for being a wonderful man and an inspiration to me and many. I would give him the praise he deserves for not only being an incredible actor but a wonderful person.
Oh, thank you, Fern. That's really, really nice.
Yeah, that's so
nice when people say like nice things about him, and
everybody has. I mean, there's a question here again from I think Gloria already. Gloria already asked her, but she said, and we asked an answer already. How did he feel about his mother? And the answer,
he adored my mother. They had a really, really, really close relationship. They lived together. I mean, when my mom was sick with cancer, he took care of her. He actually, when she started to lose her hair, he actually shaved her head for her. Like, they were close. They were
they were really close. Yeah.
They were close. And he told my mother everything, like really, really, really close. So it was so beyond difficult for my mom. And it's still so beyond difficult for my mom when my brother died, because that's like the worst thing that you can experience in life. So it amazes me, like when I see her laughing with my kids and whatever, I'm still kind of amazed that she can do that, because how do you do that? But she does. And so, yeah, it was really, really difficult when my brother died, and it's still difficult. It's awful, but
the world lost a star. She lost her son.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal, but she's an amazing person, and she goes on, and she's so amazing with my kids, and she's a fantastic person. So we're lucky to have her. And, you know, I mean, again, people want the drama of no, they got to get along, whatever. I can't help you guys. Like, it's not super exciting. I'm sorry. He was a nice Jewish boy who loved his mother. I don't know what else to tell you.
You know, your mother gets like, on something, I'd steer clear of it like you do, but you know, like some people judging her or whatever for the way, you know, for Corey in the 80s and all that. It's like, well, first of all, he's doing what he loves. Second of all, your mother couldn't be with him 24/7. Even my parents weren't around me at 15, 16, 17, 20. They would roll over the grave if they knew what I was doing at that age, let alone.
It was also a very different time. So now we're looking at the abuse, for example, through the lens of 2020, 2021, when we had the Me Too movement, and we know all these things now that it's wrong and that you need to speak up for yourself, and that, but it's not that we didn't know abuse was wrong in 1985. We did, or whatever year it was, but it wasn't the same. It was very, very, very different in the sense of how it was addressed, how you would deal with it, especially for a boy. Like, it's hard to say that, but it was. I mean, we like to think we were super, like, you know, advanced and whatever, but it was a different time. So everyone's like, why didn't your mother go to the police? Whatever. My brother wouldn't have wanted her to do that. It just wasn't. And now, of course, if that had happened, there wouldn't be a question on how to deal with it. I remember I personally, when I was I'm a teacher. When I was a young teacher, I had an incident with a coworker that assaulted me. And I went to my principal and told him about this incident, and I was given a choice. Did I want to formally complain or did I want to informally complain? And I was a new on probation teacher. So I said, I'll informally complain. Like that wouldn't even be an option now, right?
Of course. Yeah,
my principal wouldn't give me that choice. And this is only about, let's say, 22, 23 years ago. So it was just a different way of dealing with things. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying all the right decisions were made, but it's really easy to look back with the lens that we're looking at it from now,
right,
and say we would have made a different decision.
So true. I mean, you think about like when something like that happens to a child star, to a celebrity, and everybody automatically blames the parents right away. Now, say, God forbid, a child is abused by their baseball coach. Mm-hmm. People blame the baseball coach right away. They don't blame the parents in that situation, or by a clergy member. You know, it's so different when it comes to celebrity. The parents, it's the bad parenting right away.
I can see it in a way because, I mean, I know my mother because she's my mother. But for other people,
she's not going to put up with that.
But also people who don't know her, but who feel like they know or knew my brother are upset by the fact that he was abused by someone, which I completely understand. It's very upsetting. We're all very upset by that. And they need to blame someone. And it's super convenient to blame. Where were the parents? I get it. I'm a parent now. It's really hard. I mean, and my kids are not super old yet, but I'm not with them 24 hours a day, even though they're young. Yeah. And God forbid something happens. Yes, I will deal with it as much as I can. But people, I think, want to blame my mother. Also, you know, there's a lot of things in the media, and certain people have put things in the media that she did this and she did that. She did nothing. She's trying to protect her kids the best way she could at the time. Right. And I understand, in a way, people wanting to lay blame somewhere. Right. And it's really convenient to lay it on my mom. My parents didn't abuse us. They were loving, wonderful parents. They spent a lot of time with us. Were mistakes made? Probably. But show me the parent that hasn't made a mistake. I've probably made 47 today. And it's what time? I don't know. Like, not even bedtime yet.
Right? So, yeah. Of course. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Good. We'll go on. We've got a few more well, I think. Mandy Guest asked, did Cori love anything else? We asked and answered that, but just to say her name, Mandy, she wanted her name said. And I think I got most of the questions from people. So let's just finish up with a little bit about Cori, then on to you, some of the fun stuff about Cori. What was he like after the movies, kind of like, you know, the big movies? Mm-hmm. He was still working in the 90s. I mean, it happens. You know, it's hard to get to hit such a huge high. It happens to almost every actor to continue it, right?
Yeah, it's hard. And it was a really difficult transition for him to go from child actor to adult actor. So he had a long period of time where he didn't work in acting, and that's hard because it became a lot of his identity was, you know, getting value and getting esteem out of being an actor. So when you're not acting, it's frustrating and it's annoying, and it's like, why won't, you know? It's a hard transition. He did do a number of films later on when he got a little bit older, you know, as an adult. He did a number of films that, you know, he loved working. So, and when he wasn't working, he was, you know, doing his other things, cooking and painting. And I think that's when he came up with the painting, like just to keep busy and to be creative. He's a creative person, right? So when you're creative, you want to have an outlet.
Of course. So, Blown Away is a really popular movie of his. That one, a lot of people mention that, and DMs to me. The guys go up Blown Away. I forget that was a pretty popular film.
Yeah, I don't actually think I've seen Blown Away because, you know, bad sister. Uh-oh.
Oh yes, I guess that's right. Now that I'm thinking, I wouldn't.
It's creepy. No, there's certain things you don't want to watch your brother doing. So no,
stick to License to Drive. Stick to him as less. What's your favorite? What's your favorite movie of Cori's?
Lucas.
Lucas.
without question, Lucas. I love Lucas so much. I just love that movie. I mean, whether my brother was in it or not.
Right.
I love it's such a beautiful story. It's so well told. It's so well cast. Like it's just lovely, and I just really like it. And I refuse to allow it to be tainted by nonsense. I just it's okay to still like that movie, you guys. It's really. I think
as Mike Barone said, he mentioned Lucas. People watch it and they're not thinking about. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's just noise. So it's a really good movie.
What was Winona like? Because I did have a big crush on Winona Ryder.
She was amazing. I mean, we were all friends, and you have to remember that was like her first movie, right? So we were friends. We stayed in touch for a few years. I'm not in touch with her anymore.
Right.
She was a lovely, lovely girl. She was also 13. I think she and Corey were about the same age at the time. She and I went to the movies together once. I remember taking a taxi with her, going to see a movie together. But she wasn't Winona Ryder then. She was Noni. Like we called her Noni. I don't know if she's still called Noni, but she was called Noni then.
Yeah, it was one of her first films too. I think maybe her first or one of them.
First, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say. So why don't you tell us about what you did, about your film? This you're telling me about it. We'll do another interview maybe or something in a few months when you're getting closer. But give us a little brief something about it.
I am an actor, as I told you, and I'm a writer. And I came up. I'm a tired mom. Scott is the bottom line. I'm a very tired mom. And you know what I really love to do is nap, and I'm really good at it. Like, and people don't want me to nap. They want me to be like, making lunch and stuff. So I decided I would write a movie. What if napping was a competitive sport in the Olympics?
Nice.
So So I'm going to be shooting a film called Demonstration Sport, where I'm going to be a mom whose dream it is to bring home the gold for Canada in the demonstration sport of competitive napping. And that's a little film, and it'll be shooting at some point in the spring. And I hope to launch my crowdfunding campaign for it soon, within the next month or two.
Yeah.
And I'll share that hopefully with your viewers if anyone wants to be a contributor to that and help us with that film. We'd be thrilled to have your contribution and your partnership with that.
Yeah.
And regardless, I think it'll be a fun time.
And where do you think it's going to be? Is something for festivals or something? Right.
Festivals. I think it's a short film. It'll run about 10 minutes long. And the goal will be to put it into some worldwide festivals and get some recognition with that. And I think it's hilarious. Like, it's going to be really, really fun.
Right.
And hopefully other tired parents like myself will relate. So the competitive nap, man, I'm so into that. And I'm so bringing home the gold.
You're keeping up with somebody 1/25th of your age. Oh my God. You're trying to keep up with somebody that's like 1/25th of your age or something.
It's not for the faint of heart, man. It's just not. And right, little guy. My little guy's like right over there on the computer, and I'm gonna put everybody to bed soon.
Well, where do you think? Okay, so we'll wrap it up. Where do you think, if Corey were still with us, and we all miss him so much, I mean, you and your family especially obviously miss him more than myself as a fan or other people as a fan could even imagine. He's your brother. He's your little brother.
My little brother, yeah.
Where do you think Corey would be today?
That's a really good question. I think he would probably have moved into directing, like professionally. I think he would have moved into directing because that was sort of where he wanted to go. I think he would still be acting and performing in some capacity, maybe doing some writing because he had a lot of really good ideas for new films. I think he would have absolutely been over the moon in love with his niece and nephew. And they would have adored him as well.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
may have had his own.
He like loved kids.
Yeah.
And kids loved him. Like, he was like a very big kid magnet.
Yeah.
And my kids would have adored him. And my kids are upset that they never got to know him. But we do talk about him, and they refer to him as Uncle Corey. And my son especially will get upset sometimes. He'll say it's not fair that Uncle Corey died before I could meet him. And it's sad, but we still talk about him, and say, well, we remember him, and they haven't really seen too much of his films, but
I guess they're too young to see any of his films.
Some clips of Lucas. I'm kind of careful about what they watch, so not yet, but soon.
Yeah, License to Drive. I just watched it probably about 2 months ago, and it's pretty tame. But I'll
have to do a screening. But maybe that might be a lot of fun for them, actually.
Definitely not Lost Boys. Definitely not Silver Bullet.
Oh, no, I can't even watch Lost Boys without covering my face.
Come on.
I'm not kidding. I'm very scared of everything. I read that script. I was on the set. It was 30 million years ago, and I'm still with the maggots and I can't. I can't.
I forgot that Joel Schumacher had just passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, to be someone like you who you probably saw him on set or met Joel Schumacher. That man is. I mean, he looks a little nutso out there, but he's he's a genius filmmaker.
Yeah, sure. And just the fact that I think my brother just also felt very lucky that he got to work with so many amazing people.
Yeah.
And so many amazing people. Like he really liked that part of his life, that he was connected to so many interesting, creative people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say Corey.
That happens to me. I'll say, hi, I'm Cari Haim. I'll meet someone at my job. Hi, I'm Cari Haim. And they'll go, oh, like Corey. Thinking that it's a joke. And I'll go, yes, he was my brother. And then they go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no. It's okay.
How does that even, like how we started the interview, how does it even, like, if in Toronto, if you hear the last name Haim, first of all, people that mispronounce it, I'm like, oh my God, you're definitely not from Toronto if you can't pronounce Haim. Like, but if you hear the last name Haim in Toronto, well, you're going to assume the person's either related or somehow related to Corey Haim right away.
And it's age related. I find people more around my age definitely would know and make a connection. And the young, as you said earlier, some of the younger people don't know.
Yeah,
which is fine. It's not like they're obliged to know who he was. It's all good. But it is always interesting when people find out that there is a connection.
There he is. There's
that's awesome.
Cari,
you too, though, for being so kind and being so respectful and just so sweet talking about my brother. And it's so lovely to talk to you finally in person.
Yeah, he was a really big, I'm getting a little choked up because I really looked up to him as a kid. I really, just not just because he was such a huge famous actor, it's just like he was somebody from down the street who is now doing what I wanted, because I wanted to be an actor at that age, and I couldn't be jealous because he was so likable, and even though he was dating my girlfriend, Alyssa Milano, I still couldn't not like him. I looked up to him so much, so I appreciate him, and please say hi to your mother and your father.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll keep you on for a second before I end this, but did you want to say something? Sorry.
No, I just wanted to thank your viewers for sending the questions, because that was really nice. And thanks for remembering him and keeping his memory alive. And it's really special for our family when we hear those kinds of things. So I appreciate you guys letting us know that, because I do share all that with my mom, and she's just really grateful, and it's wonderful.
Well, hi, Jude.
I will tell her. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Cari.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.
Loneliest of times, but only, yeah, 'cause you're not around here. The days are a trial, and I've found that I'm my own little child. Does anyone know how to make time, to make time fly by? I'll I've walked for too many miles, looking for some kind of sign, but none could I find, except for your hand in mine. And the river is so wide, there'll be no cross to the other side. Heroes, they come when they're called, but idols are set up for a fall. And I think I know what I need. Don't forget about me. I think of you, babe, if you all think of me.
Okay, everybody, that wraps the interview up, but I did want to jump on here real quick. And again, thank you. Thanks, Scott, again, for allowing us to share this. Also, please check out Scott's channel. He also did an hour-long live stream with Cari, which I actually didn't know about that stream until I went on Scott's channel to look for the interviews today. So I am definitely going to go to his channel and check out that live stream that he did with Cari. And he also did a video where he visited Corey's grave. It's an amazing video. So please go over there to his channel and check out those videos. And also, if you would like to donate to Cari's film project, the link has been dropped in the chat multiple times, or you can click on it in the description of the video. Unfortunately, it's only going to be open for like 5, 6, 7 days now, and then it's going to be closed out. So again, if you're not unable to donate to it, if you could please share it on your social media, that would be great. And I just want to thank everybody for being here, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.